Alright, that's audio in, that's video in. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to From the Depths. Something interesting's happened today. Gmodism has put up a video experimenting on Spall liners, if they work and what they do. And I am concerned that his test is invalid because he has used low AC Spall inner layers to test against. Short version is, a Spall liner, this piece of wood, reduces the AP of the fragments caused by a squash head. Therefore, against something high AP like metal, you get twice as much defense. The math here is 3 metal is 40, plus 3 wood, counts for 3 because it's the last layer, divided by 6, which comes out at about 22, 24. So this side should take half as much damage as this side. So, let's make sure this is paused. There we go, and run the test. Come over here so we can watch the fun. So, as you can see, explosions hit, same amount of damage on both sides. However, interesting. On this side, we have damage to the front layer. Some parts got more fragments, some parts got less, but most of our inner layer of armor is intact. Every single one of our computer parts are together. On this side, interesting. The side without Spall liner seems to have done better. That's different to the previous test, so why don't we give it a second and run it again. I promise I'm not cooking the books on this one. There is some variability in how the fragments spread. Is that ready to fire yet? Still cooling. Okay, whatever. It'll shoot when it shoots. There we go. Now this test. No Spall liner, no damage to the inner layer, but we've lost 2.5, 2 3/4 of our liner. This side, we have about half our liner still intact. Actually more than half, depending on how you count damage blocks. This side is clearly doing a bit better than the other. So while we wait for the barrels to cool down, let's talk about this. At 20 AP fragments, what we expect from these cannons, these are some things that will benefit from extra health if they are hit by a fragment from one of these cannons. With a wooden Spall liner, you can expect custom control surfaces, custom jet engines, steam propellers, not the steam engine parts, but steam propellers, cram cannon barrels and gauge increases, barrel, mantlet, firing piece, and rail parts, and missiles to all benefit from extra health. Now this is another interesting test. We have only about a quarter or less of the inner layer of armor surviving on this side, with damage through to our squishy parts. On this side, we also have some damage through to the squishy parts, potentially a stray fragment from over here. To be honest, I should have separated them. But the inner layer is more than half together. That's the kind of difference we expect to see with the Spall liner. Obviously there's some variability to it, but what are we looking at? On average, about half the damage on this side, which matches the numbers. Now, of course, you can always make your Spall lining worse. If this was a layer of heavy armor, these fragments would be coming out at 60. And it wouldn't make a huge difference because it would be doing full damage to metal either way. But if you had, say, a pleek, you would be not doing well as your liner. Again, on the no Spall liner side, quite fortunate. About half their defense has been stripped away, no damage across. Half on No, it's more like 75% still intact on this side. No damage through to the squishy parts. You can see the middle bit knocked out as the fragments travel across too, isn't it fun? One more hit. Very interesting. Something odd's happened here. It seems like most of the fragments have just missed on this side, and most of the fragments have chosen to cut through here on the Spall liner side. Perhaps that's just because I didn't get the liner repaired in time. Anyway, Spall liner. Does it make a difference? Well, yes. Nothing on this side got blown through too. Is it the end of the world if you don't have one against squash shells? Probably not. And is this specific example designed to show off that a Spall liner works? Yes. So is it 100% reliable? Probably not. But, you know, since I'm already recording, let's talk about something set up more like this. This setup is 4 wood and 2 metal, which is going to be, I don't know the exact math, I can't do it in my head while talking. No Spall liner, substantially more damage. But it's going to come out to probably closer to a third the fragments. If you're looking at a third, that's more like 15. You're at a point where something with 20 armor is going to start having a benefit from Spall liner. What has 20 armor? Wings. Any steam parts with 20? Yeah, your steam engine parts are going to start to benefit at that range. What do these have? 20 armor, 20 armor? Yeah. This setup, substantially better. If you were as a Spall liner, not necessarily as armor. If you were absolutely insane, you could do that, and that would drop it even more. Last test, let's see, the Spall liner side is doing quite well, the no Spall liner side, much greater risk of internal damage. So, is a Spall liner worth doing? I think so. It's 1 material per meter if you're using wood. If you're using rubber for insulation, it's only, what? It's 3 materials per meter, but you're dropping the armor by even more. Maybe that's worth doing, maybe not. Spall liners, do they work? Well, yeah.